Time to sit down and read a nice book. Oh, that's better. Oh man, these shoes need to be polished. Oh, but that means I gotta go find a brush, polish, a rag, and some newspaper. I wish there was some kind of box that could conveniently hold all these things together. As we begin the shoe shine box project today, we want to take a look then at the wood that we're going to be using. Now, the box itself is going to be 13 inches long, 7.5 inches wide, and then 9 3/4 deep. And ideally then you would have one bore that would be able to wrap around the entire box. Now unfortunately I don't have any bores wide enough to do that. I don't have any bores that are 9 3/4 inches. The best I have is about 6 inches, so that means we're going to have to be doing a glue up. Now a glue up, if done well... Sorry to interrupt, but I assume you're not interested in a 15-minute oration on board characteristics, so a couple of quick pointers when it comes to panel glue ups. Number 1, match color and grain, and number 2, don't fret about it. I'm going to begin milling all of these boards, and in the process of doing that, that'll help me decide which of these boards in particular that I want to be able to use.
The first time I ever milled catalogs, I had a sneezing fit for a good 5 or 7 minutes, and so I do recommend that you have a mask or some form of respirator on when working with this wood. It is known to be an irritant even for those people who are not normally sensitive to these things.
So what we're going to be doing now is gluing up these panels. Now that we have everything all clamped up, all we can do is sit back and wait for the glue to dry. Well, we've taken the boards out of the clamps and we've milled them up to their final thickness, and they really are, I think they turned out quite nicely. This is the side panels, and as you can tell, there is a lot of very nice flecking that's occurring around in here, with the trim at the top as well. And our next step now is to cut them to the proper dimensions.
Setting up multiple stops on the radial arm saw is simple. Attach one block to the permanent fence and then screw a secondary fence to the bed of the table to reference your second block. Just make sure the secondary fence is placed at least your workpiece's width from the primary fence. By doing this, you can guarantee that corresponding pieces are exactly the same length and your grain pattern wraps around the box.
Well, we've got our 4 sides of our box cut. Now we need to join them together. We're going to be doing that with dovetails. Now, we're going to be using a special jig that was developed by Sander Noshansky. He had a plan for a table saw dovetail jig in the August 2010 Woodworkers Journal, and I built one to be able to do that, and so this is it here. Dovetails are one of those joints that I personally have always kind of found intimidating, but this particular jig helps me then to cut those dovetails consistently and at the same time also give me some ability to customize that you wouldn't necessarily be able to have on some of your router-based jigs. the last video that the initial inspiration for this build came from Steve Carmichael, and he has a set of plans in order to build the shoe shine box that his father had made, and one of the pieces that's part of that plan is then a template for the footrest. And so it's actually that very same footrest template that I'm going to use to make my footrest as well. So I'm just going to attach it with a little bit of spray adhesive. I've marked off on the template where we're going to put some through mortises in order to attach it to the top of the box. The mortises are going to be 1 inch long and a ½ inch deep, and the toe hold is going to be 2 1/4 inches from the top, and the heel hole is going to be 8 inches from the top. Because the foot needs to be at a slight angle, I've ripped a piece of scrap stock at a 5-degree angle, which we'll then place on the bed of the mortiser in order to make sure we're able to cut at that angle. For this particular video. We've got the majority of the box built, so in the next episode then we'll be able to finish construction of the box and then to be able to start applying the finish to it. Now the finish that we're going to be using is kind of a classic early 20th century American finish that works wonderfully with white oak and was very popular during the arts and crafts movement, particularly being put forward by the Stickley brothers. So we'll be fuming this white oak, which gives it a lovely character to it. At the same time, we've also got one other little extra special feature that we're going to be doing to kind of give it a vintage look. So if you've enjoyed this video, you can like it. I also invite you to check out my other videos as well as to subscribe to this channel, and also some of the woodworking social media sites where I post up-to-date photos of where I'm at on particular projects once I finish each step of them. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and may God bless you.